I'm Paul Prevet. I'm a photographer. 2 years ago, I started a personal project, and I wanted to share it with you. When I was a child, my dad read the book The Blessing by John Trent and Gary Smalley, and one of the things that came out of that was every birthday, the birthday child, and there was a lot of birthdays, there were 7 kids in my family. Every birthday, the birthday child would sit in the middle of the room on a stool or an ottoman, and everyone would sit around and we would go in a circle and we would say things that we liked about that person or strengths that we saw. And when we got back to the beginning, everyone would go around and they would pray a blessing on the child. And the amazing thing about those gatherings, as the birthday child receiving the blessing, was I would hear things that I was good at, gifts that God gave me that other people saw in me, things, my strengths. And so over the years, I heard things spoken to me, things like, you're creative, or you're good at math, or, these things that seem obvious to everybody else, but when you're that person, you need to hear that. And I look back, as an adult now, I look back and I realize that those words, those things wakened something in my spirit and have really shaped the man that I am.
So now this is many years ago, because Paul and I have been married for a long time, but when we were dating, we may have been engaged at the time, I got to experience my first blessing. And it was the birthday of Paul's youngest brother, Joshua. And at the time, he's just this little guy sitting on a big ottoman in the middle of the room. And I remember vividly his mother praying over Joshua for his future wife. And at first I thought, these people, this is interesting. A little bit out of my comfort zone, to be honest. And I was also scared to death that they were going to make me say something. And they did it. But I realized not too long after that this family had been praying for me, Paul's future wife, for my entire life. I will never forget that. 2 years ago, we were in Atlanta, sitting outside under market lights on a beautiful night, and we were just talking through, okay, what's the vision? Where do we want to go with photography? What are we best at? What do we want to give? Paul's a quiet guy, so a lot of times I'm the one talking more, but this night was different. He was just kind of talking through how he wanted to photograph people, what he wanted to be able to do in a portrait session so that he could really photograph a person in the best way, in the most beautiful way that they had ever been photographed. How he wanted one-on-one time to really get to pull out the soul of a person. And he's just talking and working through this idea of, as a photographer, if he could do anything in the world or photograph a person any way he could, what would that look like? And he's talking, and he's filtering, and he's thinking. And then he looks at me and he says, it's the blessing.
The amazing thing about a portrait is that it can give value. It can show someone's strengths. It can make someone feel special. And as a photographer, I love that I can do that for people. I feel like that's something that I'm good at. I can draw that out of people. I realized that through the blessing from when I was a child until now, that I had also been receiving those things all my life. People speaking those things into my life. That's what I want to give. I want to give someone the portrait, and I want to give someone the words. I think my wife is amazing. I tell her that she's a great mom, an amazing cook, that she's beautiful. You know, I think those are things that a lot of guys tell their wives. But I also want her to know that I think she's really smart, that I think that she has a self-motivated, driven personality, and that's a gift, that's an amazing thing about her. I want her to know that when I come home sometimes and nothing may have gotten done, but our 3 boys and her are rolling around on the floor, laughing and playing and wrestling, I want her to know that that is one of my favorite things in the world. My children know that she loves them more than anything else in the world. And I know that my children are the most important thing to her in the world. That is so important to me. She doesn't know that unless I speak it.
We have been given this blessing, and we know we need to give it. I wanted to do a blessing for a special friend of mine who is a wife, and a mother, and a businesswoman, and a friend. And she's that kind of woman who radiates. She walks into a room and everybody notices her because she's beautiful on the inside and out. But she is humble. She adores her family. She is selfless. And she deserved to know how her husband and how her children feel about her. And I felt compelled to celebrate her. So I asked her and her husband together, we have an idea. Would you do this with us? Now, they did not grow up receiving the formal blessing. We got to get involved and coach them and help them formulate these feelings for Heba and put them down on paper. And that truly was quite possibly the most amazing part of working with a family who wasn't one of our family, because we got to teach them how to give a blessing. Paul photographed her exactly how he wanted to, in the way that he knew she would be most beautiful, and she was.
This project has given me purpose as a photographer. I can now give a portrait that speaks. As you're watching this, I hope you get 2 things. First, that you can see our passion for what we're doing. We would love to do this for you or your family. Second, I hope you understand the importance of speaking the words of a blessing.
You are passionate. You are honest. You are beautiful. Heba, you like to leave people better than you found them. You are the salt of the earth. Your passion is our children. They are your why, and you give them every ounce of you every single day. You dream big, you shoot for the stars, and you always make sure that those around you are never left without. We always know that everything will be okay because you're with us. So we were at the rehearsal dinner for a buddy of mine's wedding, Dale Nelson, and we were at a table. It was probably 8 people at a round table. And I can't remember if they were sitting at our table or the table next to us, but the gentleman was blind, and we saw him and his wife interacting. And Heba was so taken aback of watching them interact and the true love that they had for each other, even though he was blind. She had to remove herself from the table and go to the bathroom because she was just, brought to tears. And I knew at that moment, I was like, this is the woman for me.
I love when my mom sings Twinkle Twinkle. Coolest thing about my mom is that she can run fast. I want to be like mom because she's nice. My mom is the best mom in the whole world. The coolest thing about my mom is when she colors. When I see my mom after school, I'm really excited. I love at night when my mom kisses me goodnight. I want to be like my mom because she helps people when they are sick.
Heba, the happiest moments in my life were when we got married and when you gave birth to our 2 beautiful children. You have a true passion for God and you have a true passion for people. I cherish you.